Well, it's certainly going to be a very exciting afternoon. Craig, we're looking forward to the next race getting underway.
We certainly are, and you feel that keeping it error-free is going to be theme of the day, no doubt about that. Up next, it's Newcastle against Cambridge. Cambridge call themselves Beasts of the East, but they got to deal with the power of the North. Let's watch this one in the company of Greg and Nick.
It's Cambridge on the left in pink, Newcastle in blue on the right. Newcastle, boat full of rowers, proud and excited about representing the northeast. Cambridge, as Craig says, the beasts from the east. Although they've not had that much time to get beastly together, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. It was a light blue day on the Thames back in spring when Cambridge students swept the board. What will happen here today in Bristol for Newcastle, a men's crew drawn from rowers based 150 miles apart, so the majority of their training is being carried out in small boats at their home clubs. Test for them to gel when it matters most right now.
And I spoke to the Cambridge coach this morning. I know he's put them on a really tough gearing. That means those oars are relatively short in terms of the amount of leverage they get. So it's going to be hard when they lift it out at the start, and then they're going to look to power it on through the middle.
Yeah, don't expect Cambridge to be off overly fast from the start. They've opted for that hard rigging, as high a gear as they can, hoping to pick up an unbeatable speed after the first 20 seconds or so. Newcastle, a boat full of rowers who are actually used to these shorter distances. Plenty of specialist sprinters on board. They reckon the third quarter of the race will be critical for them, so tactics will play a part.
Tactics definitely play a part. We have a look here in the Cambridge boat, and they're just lengthening up now to get to full length. They started a bit short with that powerful gearing. Now they've come up to the full length. They'll be really getting a lot of power on, and there's a lot for that Newcastle crew to do here to come back into this second half. They're going to need their tactics now if they're going to step on.
Yes, Cambridge warned us that they might not be that quick off the start, but look at that. They have the early advantage, having done all that hard work on the cam, back home, running alongside their base.
And Cambridge rowers will be used to this kind of important sprint start because they do their bumps racing, where the goal is to try and hit the crew in front of them. And today they've got up well, they've got away well. They would be catching the crew in front of them. Today they managed to leave the crew behind them, and that was a great race from the Cambridge crew.
Well, what a confident start that was for Cambridge. The self-styled beasts from the east have won through to the semi-final, where they will play Manchester. Newcastle working so hard to keep in touch, but in the end that limited time together perhaps just costing them a little.
And there was quite a difference in the stroke rate we saw then actually from the Cambridge crew who won that race. They were at about 45 strokes a minute, whereas the crew we saw in the previous race were probably at about 50 strokes a minute the whole way. That's that difference between the harder gearing, so they took fewer strokes, but they went further each stroke. The crew we saw from Manchester just got the strokes in, bang, 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 one after another.
So we know the first of the semi-finals. It will be Manchester against Cambridge.
Yeah. And you really feel Manchester will be fired up by that challenge. They want to take down the tradition. They're a tight old team. But I have to say, Cambridge, Heather, didn't really feel like beasts of the East. They looked very controlled, very calm. It was a very smooth row, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They went with the long and strong tactics, and like Greg was saying, their stroke rate was a bit less than the Newcastle crew. But actually that paid off, and I think with this little bit of a tailwind, that's really played into their hands, interestingly.
It is a risk, though, isn't it? Because you feel on a sprint course, maybe you shorten your stroke length and you just absolutely gun it. Maybe it works. We don't know. It's a bit of a voyage of discovery, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. And I think it's different for every crew. Some crews work on the short sharp, others, they need that long and strong rhythm. So I think, yeah, it played into Cambridge's hands today.
We're looking at Cambridge just cooling down there, and I have to say, they really look absolutely banjacked, even though it's a short distance. Give everyone at home an idea of just physically how tough it is over this short distance.
It's really tough. I mean, you think about doing a jump squat for a minute, and it's just really tough. Not only do your legs hurt, but your lungs start to hurt as well. And then you can't decide what to do with your arms. And it's just that moment of, my body's starting to feel a little bit disjointed, but I still have to keep moving all in time and rhythm. And it happens very quickly, because it is a short race, but very quickly you can feel very tired.
You know what's lovely about it as well, and I hope you're getting a sense of it at home, the crowds lining the riverbank are really buying into these Power8 Sprints. They're cheering along, they're absolutely loving it, and they know their first semi-finalists. It will be Manchester against Cambridge. 2 more heats to come here on the river. I hope you're enjoying it. We certainly are.